Hello, everyone, and happy Wednesday. This is Steph Lee, founder of HAR, and with me today is Jenn Lee with Travel Planners International. Hello, Jen.
Hi,
Whoops.
sweetness. How are you
Well,
doing?
I got so excited I knocked my camera over. So I have to tell you, I did have some caffeine today because I was a little tired, and I said,
Uh-oh.
I have a webinar with Jen. I need to be on my not just A game, my AAA plus game, and so I had some caffeine.
Okay, well, I have not had caffeine, and yet I'm still on my A game for all of y'all out there. I'm super happy to see you.
Yes, it's great to see you. And I yeah, let's get started because I know we're gonna be talking about people getting rid of this, throwing spaghetti at the wall, seeing what sticks for their marketing, and
Yep.
having an actual plan that can help them close the sales.
Yeah, we like to refer to it as the spray and pray. You just spray it out there and pray something comes back, or the spaghetti against the wall, hope something sticks. There's a lot of different ways to do it. For those of you that are watching live, when I start sharing my screen, I want you to, answer the question. Yes, Jenn Lee. It is a spray and pray with me at all times, or no, I'm very good at what I do. All right, now let's make sure you can see my screen. Okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea behind the spray and pray is, especially with advisors as they're newer in the industry, is you're really not sure what's working, right? Like you don't know what's going to work. You don't know where your people are. You don't know what to do when they do. You're just excited when they like something, and that's typical. So I want everyone to kind of forgive themselves right off the bat if that is your certain mode right now. But in reality, that's not going to work. It's just not. So, like, why waste all your time doing that, trying to see if something is going to stick? And the stickiness is actually a factor in the marketing world when you just simply need to implement a very simple sales funnel. It also is referred to as a marketing funnel. Steph, have you ever heard of a sales funnel or a marketing funnel before?
I sure have, Jen.
Okay.
I don't spray and pray. I am strategic in my spraying.
Right. Strategic is the word, but we don't need to overthink it. That's for sure. So let's define. Now, this is called a sales funnel for the purposes of today's webinar, but it's also a marketing funnel. It's really one and the same. I get them all mixed up. So a sales funnel, the official definition, or the definition I came up with, is a process that guides potential customers through the steps of becoming aware of your business, consider your services as a solution, and then ultimately feel confident in working with you. So it's like we bring them down this path. And a reality, especially in the service oriented businesses that we are all in, people want to be led down a path because we're not sure what we're supposed to do next, right? Does that make sense to you, Steph?
Sure does. Yep.
Okay. So, all right, it says we're going to be starting in a few minutes. Is that old information? That's old intel.
Ignore that. I don't know who's giving you that. That's false information.
Hey, Risa, so good to see you. Good. I see somebody online right now trying to figure out the best way to get ideal clients. Risa, at the end of this webinar, you're going to know exactly what to do. I'm so excited.
That was an intense look, even though your picture is so small, Jen.
Just do what I tell you to do. If you do what I tell you to do, things are going to work out fine for you. So the point is that people really do want to be led down a path. And your job is to lead them down that path so they can kind of start saying, yeah, I think I'm interested. I'm intrigued. I'm curious. What's next? So here are the 4 stages. And there's others that are 5 and 6 stages, but I'm a simple girl. I like to keep things simple. Sales funnel stages are awareness, interest, decision, and then you're hired. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to break this down for you, not to worry, but I wanted to start out with like an example. You guys are in a sales funnel all the time. You just don't realize it, especially on Facebook. You will clearly see yourself in a funnel on Facebook. But let's look at Netflix. Are you familiar with Netflix at all, Steph? Do you know?
I do happen to tune in every now and again. I am somewhat hip.
That is not the word I would attach to you, Steph, but we'll go with it. You're hip. Okay. So here's how Netflix walks their consumer down a sales funnel. Even though Netflix is everywhere, everybody knows who they are. They're a very well-known brand. But back in the day when they didn't, this was their sales funnel, and it still is today. So awareness. awareness is really about getting eyeballs on you. So Netflix knows we need to be everywhere, right? They're probably sponsoring ads on TV. They're sponsoring football teams. They're sponsoring NASCAR. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. So
Mhm.
marketing, 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 right? They probably have their creative directors doing podcasts talking about on Netflix and what they do. I promise you, they're everywhere. So that's their awareness strategy. You don't necessarily have to be everywhere. I'm going to give you some ideas of where you should be based on who you're trying to attract. So that's the awareness phase. So lots of eyeballs, lots and lots of eyeballs. People are looking, right? The next phase is the interest phase. Now, the next two phases are the most critical phases out of all of this. Why are there balloons that just went up on
I
my
was just gonna ask you that. Did huh? We're all very excited about this.
Okay. Maybe because I was doing this? No. Okay. So the first phase
Weird.
is marketing. The second phase is the interest. And this is what I like to refer to as micro decisions, right? So what Netflix does says, hey, we'll give you a 30-day free trial. We want you to experience the service, right? And so during the interest, you're like, you know what? I'm curious. I'm going to go ahead and take that 30-day free trial and I'm going to see what it's like. What Netflix does during that interest is they learn about you. And if you've ever signed up for Netflix or any streaming service, any app, anything, they always want to ask you a few questions about you, even when it's a free service, because they want to make sure they're feeding you exactly what it is that interests you to keep you hooked, right?
Mhm.
So in the interest phase, they offer a 30-day free trial. They learn about you. Now you've made that micro decision, say, I'm going to check it out. The next decision is they start flooding your feed with the right recommendations, right? So now you're even making a stronger decision. I'm watching more. I'm sure Netflix has a formula, as all apps, programs has a formula. If somebody watches, if somebody signs up for our 30-day free trial, and if in the first 4 or 5 days, and I'm making up this statistic, but I promise you it's something like this, in the first 4 or 5 days, they watch at least 3 movies and get hooked on one series, we have a 70% chance that they're going to actually sign up. I made up those numbers. Please don't quote me on that. Okay, those are all made up. But they know if you do this in this time frame, because we served you this, if you do this, those are your additional actions saying, I'm making a decision. I'm in that decision phase process. And that's when Netflix is super smart and they continue to recommend. They want to make it easy for you to get hooked on them, right? And then what Netflix does is they prompt you about 14 days in to go ahead and make a decision. They realize you've been hooked already for 4 or 5 days. So at least 14 days in, they're already starting to say, you know what, you want to go ahead and just do this? Let's just do this. Let's just connect and be together for the rest of our lives and sign up for Netflix. So they start to prompt you to purchase only 2 weeks in to the 30 days because they know you're hooked. You're not towards the end and you're not at the beginning. So they actually don't ask you for that final sale immediately, but they do it at least 14 days in. So that's an example of a marketing or a sales funnel. They know that they've got all the eyeballs up here. You've made a micro decision. Now they know, hey, you're kind of interested. Here's where we're going to really get you to be hooked on us. And then we're going to make it easy for you to purchase. Okay. You had no idea that you were being, what's the word I'm looking for? I no idea. Okay. All right. Where am I going? Okay. So here we go. I'm sorry. I got distracted by the questions. Okay. So, whoops. So let's break down each stage. So the awareness stage is focused on getting new eyeballs on you. And here's how you do it as a travel advisor, right? You do that by being active on social media. You do it by being part of online groups. Maybe it's a group that you have, a Facebook group. You've created a group and you are telling people to invite your friends over to that group. You get new eyeballs on you when you're active with Google reviews, which Steph, in the notes for this, can we include a link to my last webinar that was about reviews and referrals?
Yes, and we do have a question on if the slides will be available for this for those that
Of
are
course,
watching.
absolutely.
Excellent. Yes. So if you haven't registered yet, I just put the link in the comments and we'll send all this information out.
Yeah, I love sharing. Sharing is caring. You get anything I have. So you're going to do it via social media, right? So think about all the ways you're kind of getting eyeballs on you. Google reviews is a very powerful way for you to get new eyeballs. And I go into depth about that in a host agency review webinar that I think I just did last month, or maybe it was our host week. I don't remember.
I
We
can't
talk so
remember
much.
either. I know Jen and I are just always chit chatting, texting.
So think about it, guys. Google reviews, the reason why they're so important. And I'll just tell you this. You do it every single day. Don't you go to Google and say Starbucks near me, Target near me?
Mm-hmm.
People are doing travel advisor near me, or they're doing travel agency near me, or travel agent near me. If you have a Google reviews, which is attached to your Google business profile, you're going to come up. So that's new eyeballs on you. Number one. Okay, blogs. Maybe you're writing blogs, writing articles, anything that gets your name out there and you've got to promote or someone else is promoting to get new eyeballs on you. You want to kind of introduce them to you. What I'm doing right now as a webinar, I'm getting new eyeballs on Jenn Lee, right? Because I want to share, obviously, but this is a way for new people to meet Jenn with TPI. Media interviews. I just did a talk for our TPI advisors about how to pitch your local media, how to get on your local TV station, your local radio station, how to get quoted in your local newspaper, maybe your community magazine. That's getting new eyeballs on you. Straight up advertising. We have an advisor here at TPI. She lives in Pennsylvania, and her company, her agency, buys the placemats in one of the local diners in a really cool neighborhood. So everybody sees Kraus Travel all the time. So advertising gets new eyeballs on you. And of course, good old fashioned networking. Steph, what am I missing? What's another way for advisors to get awareness to their brand?
I mean, being out in the community is huge, and just networking.
Yes.
I mean, that I think is often
Shows.
underestimated.
Yeah, your local community fairs. Maybe it's a bridal show if you're in that world. Being part of a nonprofit organization because you're passionate about it. Don't do it just to be, just to try to get leads. Your Rotary, your Chamber of Commerce, all those things.
Mhm.
These all give you the opportunity to create awareness that you exist. I personally, and Steph, I've said this before, I personally, if I were a travel advisor and opening up a travel agency, I would find some sort of storefront. Whether it's in a cute little downtown area where everyone's walking and shopping, I want the awareness that the travel agency is available in this town. So there's a
Mhm.
lot of different ways. So awareness is kind of what a lot of people already do. They're kind of like everywhere. Oh, Jennifer said she joined her chamber and immediately got new clients. Good for you, Jennifer. Also, be that expert for them, right? Now, Jennifer, now that you've got new eyeballs on you, I'm going to tell you what the next step is that you have to take. Otherwise, what is the point? The next step is to encourage them to make some sort of micro decision, right? They're checking you out. And so, examples of micro decisions are them showing an interest are things like they've taken action on your social media. Right? Maybe they've liked something, they've commented on something. Maybe they've sent you a friend request and it was because you can see that the friend request came from somebody else. Something from a social media standpoint. If you're on Twitter, do they retweet you? Instagram, all those different social media actions. Did they take an action of some sort? That means they've got a little bit of an interest in you. Did they answer a poll maybe that you put out on social media? Did they join your e-newsletter? Maybe you were at an event and you said, hey, to learn more about family travel trends and tips for traveling with your family, sign up for my e-newsletter. Did they sign up? Did they attend an event that you had invited them to or that you were part of and they knew that? Maybe you're sponsoring an event or you're a co-sponsor of an event. Maybe it's a nonprofit fundraiser of some sort. Did they bid on whatever it was that you were giving away? Even if your like silent auction, even if your silent auction is like mitts and gloves and hats and scarves and or something like that, or something that's travel related, it doesn't have to be a trip. But did they write their names down going, yeah, I want that's them showing an interest, right? That's a micro decision. Did they stop by your booth? Did somebody refer them? Did they start asking you questions? So I'm going to go back to Jennifer for a second. So Jennifer, when you're at a chamber event, and you're introducing yourself. And I hope you're introducing yourself as, hi, I'm Jennifer. I own a travel agency here in town, blah, blah, blah. We focus on such and such. Never introduce yourself as a travel agent or a travel advisor. If you are an independent advisor and you don't work as an employee for someone else, guess what? You own a travel agency. So make sure you're introducing yourself that way. But the point of this portion is, if you introduce yourself and they start asking questions, and the questions start going down the path of maybe they like to travel, and maybe they don't have a travel advisor that helps them currently, or maybe it's people are still traveling. I didn't know travel advisors still existed. Where's your travel agency? If they start asking you questions, that's a micro decision. They have an interest in you. Steph, I'm going to throw this at you for just a second, just to slow me down because I talk so fast. In host agency reviews world, you've got lots of eyeballs, and then somebody does something. What is that micro decision that they do that you know, okay, they're interested in more information from us at Host Agency Reviews?
One of the big things is signing up for our newsletter. Yeah, or like things like attending webinars, in the comments, listening to our podcasts.
If you're smart, and I know Steph is, and I don't know if she's doing this or not, and if she is, she's doing it in such a way that it doesn't seem creepy to you. She knows exactly who's made a micro decision. And chances are Steph is doing something else with those folks because they're already making a micro decision. So in other words, you have marketing approaches based on where people are in that sales funnel, that marketing funnel. Right? If they join the newsletter, then, maybe she's doing something and she wants them to sign up for the 7-day setup, right? Or maybe she wants to make sure that they log in and register for a webinar. Even though the webinars are free, it's important for people like myself to see that those webinars are attended. So Steph knows who made a micro decision, and Steph treats those micro decisions differently than the person that hasn't actually said anything yet. Steph's still out there, and think about it for you. For those that make those micro decisions, those are the people that you want to craft a very specific type of response or series of responses to. And we'll cover that in just a moment. All right. So, Steph, I don't know. Did I give away anything? I mean, did I give away your secret or?
No, I can't keep a secret for the life of me.
I know. Okay. The next stage in the sales funnel process is the decision phase. Now, this is not the buying phase. Notice you have not been hired yet. In the decision phase, they've made the decision to engage deeper with you. Okay. So what does that look like? So that's probably something along the lines of they've set an appointment with you. They've sent you an email saying, hey, I'd like a chance to chat with you about, an upcoming trip we're thinking about, or, my family and I are trying to go on vacation and we really just don't know what to do. Maybe they set up a consultation call with you. This is the time that you've got them. I know it sounds like we're trying to capture somebody, but in reality, guys, when you're walking people through a path, they want you to walk them through that path. They can't make that decision on their own. There are things along the way that help them feel more confident and comfortable in going down the next step with you. Similarly to anything in life, if you get a tour guide, you don't want the tour guide to say, hey, listen, I'm here for you when you need me. I'll just keep walking straight and you let me know if you want to see what that church is. No, a tour guide says, here's what we're going to do today. Now, raise your hand if you want to go to the church, or raise your hand if you want to go to the pub. Would be the pub for me. I mean, I like churches, but I want to go to the pub afterwards, right? So tour guides take you through that and you feel good about it. You follow them along because you want to get to the end and really enjoy that experience. It's no different, guys, in marketing and sales. So they've made the decision to dive deeper. Your job during this phase is to ask for the credit card, to get the commitment, to close them on whatever it is or wherever you are in that process, to take them to the very next stage, which will be you're hired, right? Victory, they hire you to curate their amazing vacation. Congratulations, job well done. Doesn't that kind of look like me a little bit if I have my glasses on?
You don't have as big of a bouffant, but similar.
I can make it. Exactly. So congratulations, you're hired. Great job, right? So the point is, and I'm going to take us back to this because this is a little irritating to keep watching me clap like this. The point is as you walk them through this phase, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about each of these phases and how to get started. As you walk them through, each person is in a different stage of hiring you. Your job is to treat them in the stage that they are in, to use verbiage that helps them in that stage. Let's just say they're in the interest stage. They've made a micro decision. They've commented on something, right? Maybe you've posted something on Facebook, or you've taken a poll and a whole bunch of people say, yes, they want to go to Africa. Maybe you've asked them, what are the 5 places you're dreaming about going to, right? Well, in that stage, everyone who's answered is probably going to see your comments a little bit later on. So from there, if the 5 are Africa, Asia, Ireland, Italy, and Australia, those are the 5 places your poll came out and said, the next few days you should be posting things about Africa and Asia and Ireland. And of course, I'm not going to remember the other 2, something in Italy and Australia. You've told them, I've heard you, I listened to you. You don't necessarily have to send them an email directly, but you want to speak to that. Hey, for all of you who said Australia is the place that you wanted to go, share with me why. Let's talk about Australia. Who's been, who's not been? Now you've got people more and more engaged. They're showing you more and more interest through their comments. They're realizing that you're listening to them. So you're telling them that you're a thoughtful advisor, right? That you pay attention to those details, which are all these things that we need to know in the back of our minds, right? We need to know that you pay attention to details and that you listen to what our needs and desires are. So now you've had them in the eyeball stage, you've seen that micro interest, and now you're working that micro interest. And then somewhere along the line, you've got to plop something in that says, hey, for all of y'all that were interested in Australia, this has been a great conversation. Who would want to attend maybe a Facebook Live where I bring in my Australia partner to talk about Australia? Me. Sign up here. Now they click on this, they sign up for that webinar. Now they're really showing a bigger interest. They're in that decision phase. See what I mean? And then at the end of that webinar, you best be able to say, okay, for those of you that have listened and asked lots of questions for the next 72 hours, I've got this partner on the hook to help me answer additional questions with you. Click here and let's set up a 15-minute consultation call. See, guys, you walking them through this path based on where they are. And it's not as hard as you think. Does that seem hard, Steph?
No, and I see your question, Jennifer, about if you need to have a website, an active website. But I mean,
No.
hopefully Jen's example has set that it doesn't need to be in a website setting.
No, not at all. Jennifer, thank you for being active on this. And hey, Judith, how are you? So here's the thing. Yes, websites are great, but honestly, that's not what people are buying. What they're really looking for when they go to your website, let's think about it. Think about how you do it. Unless you can actually purchase from a website, you're only pulling up the website to gain credibility, right? Like, in other words, you just want to make sure this person's credible. You can do that in a variety of different ways. The Google business profile, which again, I talked about that with reviews and referrals a little bit. That is a great online website if you don't have one. Having your Facebook group or, your business page is good too. It's starting to come back again. But I would have a Facebook group of some sort. Any place that you are where you're promoting yourself as a travel agency owner should be fully filled out. Description, hours of operations, specialty, address, phone number, email. Make it easy for people to say yes to that micro decision and to see that you're a real person. So that was a long answer to your really simple question. No, you don't have to have a website. All right. So now that you've got them, right, guys? So, I'm going to just go back one slide here for a second. Now that you've got them and you're hired, the work continues. All right. Because the people that work with you after you've taken them down this beautiful sales funnel, the people that work with you, I've gotten used to kind of a way you operate, right? And without you realizing it, you're already showing them and proving to them what your brand promise is. And a brand promise is very important. It's different than a mission statement or a vision statement. To me, this is a stronger thing. The brand promise really should encapsulate how your customer is going to feel doing business with you, right? So, like my personal brand promise for Jenn Lee personally is that I will, and I tell this to all my new friends, anybody that I work with in the industry, anybody I encounter where I'm going to have more than one encounter or an ongoing relationship, I always tell them my brand promise to you is that I will always be direct, I will always be clear, I will always be timely, and I always will have kindness in my heart. And because I say that, everything I do centers around those 4 points: direct, clear, timely, and kind. I would challenge you to know what your brand promise is to your clients, because you want to use that in your sales funnel prior as you're getting eyeballs on you. You want that to be like, boy, this feels the same all along the way. Have you ever, Steph, have you ever like gone into, maybe you've checked out a website or something really cool. They had a good video, maybe it was like a stand-up desk or a car or something where you were so mesmerized by the marketing, and they wooed you during the selling portion. But as soon as you bought it, all of a sudden it's an automatic recording when you try to call in for support. Nobody's available. They have a really ridiculous return policy. Like all of a sudden it doesn't feel as good as it did during the selling process. Have you ever gone through that?
Yes, where you feel like you've been duped.
Yeah. That is awesome. Yeah. That's because they broke the brand promise. What they had was a sales strategy, right, to get you in, but they didn't actually have a brand promise. So I always like advisors to start with, what is your brand promise? So things could be, think about what are the processes that you have in place that you promise that they will go through. My promise to you is that you will always have, written documents or documents in an itinerary format so that it makes it easy for you while you're traveling. Our brand promise to you is, we are a 7-day-a-week full service agency. However, we have after hours support for when you're traveling, or we have while you're traveling support. Our promise is the communication style will always be respectful. It will always be, short, or it'll always be detailed. There's communication style is a brand promise. That my communication style stays the same. And that's kind of part of the TPI brand promise, that we're always transparent. We're very authentic over here. And it doesn't matter who you're talking to, right? I represent TPI, but I can promise you, every human you meet in this building has the same kind of brand promise. We're transparent. We have a high level of integrity. We take feedback well, and we're all obsessed with your success. So it's the same brand promise for the entire company, but think about your company in that response, in that thing. What's your response time? Like what else? What else is it that you do that you're so proud of, that is part of kind of the nature of who you are, right? What is that promise? Use that as you're crafting and going to the next phase of this, which is to actually start creating your own sales funnel. And it's not hard, guys. This is it right here. Super simple. We ready? Getting started. Identify your target audience. It might not be who your current audience is. Maybe it's a very small subset. I just got back from the Astor River Cruise Expo as an example. Yeah. And if you didn't sign up for the Astor River Cruise Expo for next year, it's sold out.
Yep.
Be on the lookout for 2026. This is probably one of the best expos out there. But people who came back said, you know what? I want to sell more river cruises. So identify your target audience. Okay, I want to sell more river cruises, but my target audience are going to be baby boomers. My target audience is going to be the people that live in my community. Like who is your target audience, right? Then you've got to ask yourself, where do they hang out? Because that's where your sales funnel should start. Do they hang out on social media? Are they hanging out at the Rotary Club? Are they hanging out at local fairs? Where do they hang out? That's where you're going to begin your sales funnel. That's where you're going to focus your sales funnel actions for your first one. When you get really good at this, you're going to have multiple sales funnels, but let's just start with one, right? Then the third thing you're going to do is you're going to create content that will resonate with that target audience. And I can't remember if I did this with you or not, Steph. Did I do one that was about marketing verbiage?
No. At least now that I'm remembering, but I feel like I would remember, Jen.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've got a great one about marketing verbiage. If you email me, and I think Steph's going to put some info in here, I've got an entire resource guide that I'll send to everybody as well. But create content that will resonate with them. And guys, the content, the way you come up with that content is you take out a piece of paper, and for 10 minutes, don't stop until it's 10 minutes up. I want you to write down every problem you solve for your target audience because of what you do. Or you could do it this way: what are the challenges my target audience encounters in wanting to choose a river cruise? Okay. And it'll be things like knowledge. They don't know which one to choose. Knowledge. They don't know what river to go on. Knowledge. They don't know how much it's going to cost. Knowledge. Like, think about every single thing. Knowledge. My spouse doesn't want to go on a river cruise because they think they'll be bored. There's this an assumption that river cruises are for old people. Like, write down every single objection or challenge or obstacle that you think your target audience has that would prevent them from wanting to go on a river cruise or going on a river cruise. Once you write those out, and I'm telling you, take 10 minutes and even Google some of this stuff, like really push hard until you get as many as you can come up with. You now have every bit of content that you can create for your sales funnel, for your social media post, for your email newsletter, for your little stand up if you're in a networking group, whatever that is. Each one of those challenges or problems that you can help them overcome, you get to now share with them to get more eyeballs on you, how you help them overcome that challenge or that problem. So create content that will resonate with your target audience, which means you have to be specific. You can't say, hey, I'm a great travel advisor. Like, that doesn't mean anything. You got to think about it, right, guys? So create content that resonates. Then the fourth thing is craft a variety of micro decisions to encourage engagement. So I'm going to use the social media world, and I'm going to just stick with Facebook because I'm old, because I'm on the gram, but I'm not nearly cool enough to do those real things. I don't know what that is. So I'm on the gram and I'm following Bug Naked, which is the naked cat of Captain Kate from Celebrity, but that's about the only person I follow. So a variety of micro decisions from a Facebook standpoint would be I've posted something and I've asked a question. So if a micro decision is like if you agree, comment with your answer, fill out this poll, whatever that is, come up with what those micro decisions are, right? And if it's and a micro decision could also be join my Facebook group, right? So maybe you're on your personal Facebook page or you're on a business page, or Jennifer, maybe you're at that networking event, that chamber event. What's a micro decision? I was just telling people about how just got back from I'm all into river cruising right now. It's really the boom. But I find, have you ever wanted to go on a river cruise, but you weren't sure which river would meet your needs? As a travel agency owner that's really dove into the river cruise arena, I know which river is best for you. Have you ever felt that way? So that's another way and that's a whole nother webinar. But like you say that, when they say, really tell me more, that's a micro decision. Now you know. The second could be like, hey, just scan this QR code. I've got like a really cool downloadable one pager that you can read that kind of it tells you what each river is about. Whatever that is, craft about 5 or 6 different types of micro decisions that you can kind of intersperse along the way. Okay, so that'll be your next thing. And then design responses and next steps per micro decision. Now, I'm all about the power of one. I want you to create one sales funnel to attract one type of person, one type of target audience. I want you to just come up with a bunch of content wherever they hang out and come up with one type of micro decision action you're asking them to do. It could be as simple as join my Facebook group, because then over in the Facebook group, guys, guess what you get to do? craft more content that gives them more options to make more micro decisions. And the more they make those micro decisions, that's in the interest phase, the more every so often you put in something real. Like, so often people say, can I pick your brain? Or I'd love to talk about a particular destination, from 2 to 4 tomorrow. I'm taking, 10-minute free phone calls or whatever that is for you. Get them to fill something out, get them to sign up for something. Now they're in the decision phase. Okay, phew, I feel like all I've done is talk.
Well, I have a question for you. So when you're talking about these Facebook groups, Carol was asking for the Facebook groups, do you recommend them being private or the public Facebook groups? Do you have a preference?
Yeah, it depends on what you want it to be. I like public Facebook groups because I want to make it easy for people to find me, and I advise our advisors. So it depends on what you want to do with it. So, like, as an example, let's use river cruising, right? And let's say you live in Castleberry, Florida, or Seminole County, Florida. I would create a Facebook group called River Cruise Lovers of Seminole County. Right now, everyone who joins it knows these are people who live in Seminole County together, right? And I'm talking about Florida, it's a very small county. People who live in Seminole County that are all interested in river cruising. The description of my Facebook group, which I have a webinar on this, and that'll be in the resource guide, but the description needs to be all about, Seminole County residents are cruising on the rivers in Europe all the time. This group is designed to help answer those questions, bring you the latest and greatest news, educate you on the rivers, blah, 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 brought to you by such and such travel agency. And then people will find it. People who river cruise in Seminole County, Google's a beautiful thing. People are Googling everything, right? And then it makes it easy. And also with a Facebook group, another micro decision they're making, when they come into the group, you can ask them questions. And the questions could be, have you ever been on a river cruise before? Or what's motivating you to join this group? If you were to go on a river cruise, are you looking at something in the next 12 to 24 months? What intrigues you about blah, 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 blah. What part of Seminole County do you live in? Or you could ask for, hey, I've got an email newsletter that dives even deeper. Enter your email address to be added. Micro decision, micro decision, micro decision, micro decision. They're really getting into it. You're showing them that you know river cruises and that you're excited about it. All right. I would say a Facebook group, Jennifer. Pages, business pages, guys, they're going to come back because of all the AI stuff. But business pages, nobody's going to follow your business page because Facebook's not going to let them until you spend money. And that's on ads. And you can only do that on a Facebook page. So if you want to spend ads on marketing and that's part of your sales funnel, how to get more eyeballs on you, go for it. But most advisors have success either their own personal page, their personal page, or on their Facebook group. I'm a big believer in the Facebook groups. What other questions do we have? All of your marketing materials is just the website and funnel piece. Brenda, great question. Brenda's asking, is the brand promise in all of your marketing materials or just the website and funnel piece? It doesn't even have to be anywhere. It's a promise. It could be something that you say. It could be something that you portray. I'm a believer in I have it right here, unless somebody stole it. Yeah, I have it right here on my desk. Direct, clear, timely, and kind. So anybody who comes into my office, I tell them this, right? So it's not, I don't have a tattoo. I'm not Adolfo Perez getting tattoos, but it is a brand promise that everybody knows from me. And again, you can make it as a mission statement or a vision statement. I just think it sounds like I promise to take great care of you, right?
All right. And it's great for also passing down once your team starts growing and having so that people are having the same experience.
Yep. Okay. So you're going to design the responses. And then this is really important. You can't just put it out there, do this, and it not net results. If you find that when I ask this and my micro decision that I've crafted, nobody's taking advantage of, I need to review that, analyze it, adjust, and repeat. So pay attention to it, right? And again, I don't want this to seem overwhelming. I want everyone to realize, pick one target audience, right? Choose one place for that sales funnel to start. Understand, who your audience is and what's important to them. I don't remember what my next slide is. That's terrible. What the next, there is none. Oh, heavens. I forgot to do a next slide. But understand who they are and what's important to them. And just pay attention to all these different, this part in the interest phase, when they show an interest, that's when you want to kind of pounce, for lack
Hmm.
of a better word, because the next phase is the decision phase. And that's when you want to close them. And then after that, after they've hired you, this is when you want to prove to them that they made a great decision, because this is the person that's going to send you referrals, write you reviews. And now the work that you put into the sales funnel to capture that one family is going to help you get more.
Hmm.
Okay, so I'm ready to answer questions if anybody's got any.
Well, we just have a comment, not so much a question, but from Jennifer saying she has two Facebook profiles, one
Mhm.
for personal and private for just friends and family, and then the second one that's more professional, um, and has it under a different name. Any comments on that, Jen?
You have to do what feels comfortable to you. Definitely, security is top priority in all of our families. I would say, and there's might be a reason why you have a different name. I don't know if it's not Jennifer Rogers, maybe it's, Sandra Lane or something like that. And maybe you're in the witness protection program. If that's the case, you shouldn't be on this right now. But I would say people still buy from humans, and people still want that human connection. So if you've got friends on your personal and you think they're people that may be interested in what you've got going on in your other page, then I would invite them to that. I
Mhm.
would say if the other page, I say I can experiment with marketing on the public one. Jennifer, does your family know that you own a travel agency? Do they love you? Do they support you? Then I would say it's okay to tell them about your successes on your personal page. Doesn't mean you're selling them anything. People want to be part of your success story. People want to be part of other people's successes and victories. Give your friends and family a chance to do that. So make sure you're sharing something on your personal page, right? Then on your public page, right? Then that is really about your agency. These are attracting people who you don't necessarily know that well, maybe those that you're meeting at the chamber. I totally get where you're coming from. I understand what you're trying to accomplish. I would turn that second one into a group. And it could just be, tips and tricks from Jennifer or whatever that is. But I would make that a group versus another human, because what you don't want to do is have people think they're doing business with one person and then end up doing business with another person. So I would just encourage you, and maybe I'm misunderstanding your question. You want Facebook to recommend new people to come to my public page. I don't want them on my private page. Well, on your private page, they're not gonna, you can always decline them, and you can do a little note like, hey, I'm so glad you found me here. The right page to connect with me is over here. But you're on the right track. I think I would do it as a group, though. That's just me personally. Good
Mhm.
question. Thanks, Jennifer. Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate you.
Yeah,
Brenda,
great.
thank you.
Yeah, great questions in here. So, Jen, do you have like success stories from some newer advisors at TPI that are implementing this and kind of what the results are for some inspiration?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've got a lot of sales advisors that are doing this. What they're finding is that they're tired of just sending, spraying and praying, right? They want a more deliberate approach, and they want it to be more strategic. I can't say that I have a specific example that I could give you right off the top of my head. I do have an advisor, Stacy McEwen, who has a Facebook group that only has about 2,200 consumers in it, and it's closed. I mean, it's public, but it's closed. In other words, you have to be approved to get into it. And she doesn't keep it very big, but about 50% of her business, she says, comes just from that Facebook group, because when she posts something, she uses that as her sales funnel. It could be a poll, it could be a question, it could be a contest, it could be something. So she uses that Facebook group for that. Now, this is an advisor who does over $1 million a year in sales, and at least 50% of it comes straight from that group, right?
Mhm. What's the group's name or
I think it's
focus?
Stacy, yeah, Stacy's Tips and Tricks. She started out
Mm,
with that to give her to give her clients a place to get tips and tricks for travel. And now she's opened up another one that's really all about luxury travel, right? So those that are in her tips and tricks, she every so often says, hey, and I'm talking all about and exclusively luxury travel over on this group. And then they go and join that group.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, you're probably getting sales funnels. You're probably doing it for one or two reasons. But what I'm finding is advisors are doing it. They're either spraying it out there or, okay, I've got everybody. I went to a show and everyone signed up for my email newsletter. Well, what are you doing after that? How are you identifying what they're interested in? What's the content that you're sharing? What are they clicking on? Look in your email marketing program. At TPI, we provide our advisors a free email marketing program. They can upload 10,000 contacts if they want. It's all included. But when they send an email out, it tells you, here's how many people clicked on this link and here's who they are. Here's how many people that clicked on this link and here's who they are. Now, that doesn't mean you go, hey, I saw you clicked on my link, because that's kind of like creepy. But what you do say is, let me export that. They clicked, this is a micro decision. They clicked on the link where they downloaded a thing. They clicked on a link to join my Facebook group. They clicked on a link to go to my website. They clicked, whatever those links are, wherever they went. Your next communication with that segment of folks needs to be specific to that segment of folks without saying, I saw you clicked on my link.
Mm-hmm. Good question from Jennifer on the Facebook groups. Is she able to collect the email address from that for her newsletter?
Yes, you just have to say, hey, I've got a newsletter that you should make it optional, not mandatory, but you can say, hey, I've got a monthly newsletter that promises to bring you blah, 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 blah. If you're interested, please enter your email here and I'll add you.
Yeah, and one thing to note, Jennifer, there's no export on that for the questions, so it is manual, which, isn't.
That's okay. We got a puppy dog. Which one is that?
That's the one that's looking out the window behind me. Little kitty must have gone by.
Yeah, so manual, you have to actually type in those answers, and I would put them into a spreadsheet of some sort.
Yeah, because I had looked into if there was a Zapier or something that you could use, but there isn't, unfortunately. They make it very difficult, which is a bit of a bummer. But Jen, I was going to check in on, let's see. So I think one of the challenges for people is they watch these webinars and they're like inspired and all these great things, and then you get overwhelmed right after. So would you recommend, because one of the things that I feel like helps me is like, now that I've watched this, setting aside, looking at my calendar right now as we're all on this together, looking on your calendar and saying, I'm going to set aside like 3 hours to work on this, do the steps that Jen mentioned, and get everything set up.
Yeah, definitely. Again, that's why I said the power of one. What's that one target audience? And that target audience could be, you're excited about river cruising right now. Your target audience is, you want to make sure the people that just met you at the chamber know who you are. And it doesn't mean it has to be social media, right? So pick one target audience, understand what their objections, their challenges, all of that are, write that out, and then you can start crafting your content. And I like to tell advisors, and again, I've got a whole resource guide. I'll send you the resource guide stuff. You'll put it in there, right?
Yeah. So we're going to I have on my notes right now, we're going to get the link, which I put in the comments as well, but the link to your webinar on reviews. We're going to get your slides and then the resource guide with marketing verbiage.
Yep. And I've got a resource guide that kind of walks you through a bunch, and it gives you a bunch of resources of other webinars that I've done, some with Steph and some with others, because this isn't like you watch a webinar, all right, I'm good to go, let's go. Now, creating content, what does that look like? What's the right kind of content, right? How do you write content where you're telling your story, their story within your story? Asking for referrals, right? That's a sales funnel of sorts, right? That's after the travel. Part of your brand promise is that you'll always follow up and that you're with them before, during, and after travel. Asking for a referral or a review, more importantly, a review is part of that brand promise, right? So you're meeting that. So there's a lot of components to it, but instead of feeling overwhelmed, because I never want people to feel overwhelmed, just understand it's a process, guys. This is a sales and marketing job before it's anything else. Advisors come in thinking that it's about selling travel. You do not sell travel. You curate experiences that have travel attached to it. But in reality, the main part of your job that builds your business is sales and marketing. It's sales and marketing. It's as simple as that. You can hire other people to do the other stuff. Your job is the sales and marketing side. Somebody said, can you talk more about the Google stuff? Do we have time for me to chat just for
Yeah, let's do
5
the
minutes?
Google My Business and everything.
Yeah, so I believe there's an article that's being written. I was just talking to somebody recently, so I don't know if it's going to be at Travel Weekly or Travel Age West. Somebody's writing an article about this, but Google Business Profile, GBP. Google Business Profile is something free that you can set up via Google, and it attaches. It's kind of like a mini website. So, like if you're at your computer right now, go ahead and type in Adventures by Amy or On Deck Travel. I think On Deck Travel is Effie's. If you type that in, because she doesn't live near you, so you can't say travel advisor near me, you type that in, you're going to see on the right hand side her Google business profile. In that Google business profile, you'll see these reviews. Now, let's think about how Google operates, guys. Just like any online, Facebook, all the algorithms are, if you help me, I'll help you because I'm trying to help them who you're trying to reach. Okay, so that's really all it is. So with Google, Google needs to be able to give answers, and we can talk about that later on, but be able to give results to people's questions for them to stay relevant in the person's mind. If they go here, do I go to Google? Do I go to Safari? Do I go to whatever the other ones are? Bing. Who uses Bing, but apparently that's still out there. So they want you to always use them because that's how they make money on the ads, right? So in your Google business profile, that's where you want all your reviews to show up. You want to ask your clients to leave you reviews with pictures because Google loves pictures because they're going to use it during Gemini, which is the artificial intelligence arm to Google, just like so many others. So there's all this stuff. If you fill that out, Google says, hey, you know what? I tell you what, next time somebody says travel advisor or travel agency near me, I'm going to show you. And what happens is the eyeball goes boop straight over to here. We don't like reading, we like seeing. So the Google business profile is right there. There's more to it, but that's in general what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's really easy to set up. We put the link in the comments I see, so you can check that out. Get your business profile set up as one of the steps that you're doing. And Carol, yes, you will be able to rewatch this. So it's actually at the same link since it's on YouTube. Once it finishes processing, you can just rewind and watch to your heart's content.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And something I forgot to put in here, and you're not in a sales funnel when I tell you this, because this is truly just a gift that I've given to the industry. I have a Facebook group called Fiercely
Mhm.
Forward Travel Advisors. Fiercely Forward Travel Advisors. I usually have a little slide. I forgot my slide, Steph. If you go to the Fiercely Forward Travel Advisors Facebook group, it's just a group of a bunch of advisors from all over the North America, Canada, and the US. And I just post positive stuff. I'll post, hey, I'm doing a webinar. Hey, did you guys read this? Hey, Asta needs this. We don't talk about partners. Nobody's asking, hey, who's the best, all inclusive. And we don't talk about any of that stuff. This is just really positive, easy breezy, safe space to kind of hang out in the morning.
Mhm. We'll put that in the follow-up. And again, if you haven't registered, well, we'll pop the link in for the registration again, but register because this afternoon we'll send out the follow-up with all the different resources within
Awesome.
there.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I'll get that I'll update that resource for you, Steph, as soon as you send me this link because they're going to want to see this again. They want to watch this again, Steph.
I didn't want to. I'm glad you said it.
Of course.
I was like, people love us. They
They
love the
do. Why would
Lees.
they
They love
not?
the Lees.
Lee's in the house. Right, exactly. So there's a lot to it, guys, but it's not hard once you know what you're doing. Somebody was saying that writing the content is the hard part. Well, hi C's, I've got a webinar on that. Facebook content that converts, and you're overthinking this stuff. You're overthinking it. So I've got a formula for you for that as well. I got a formula for everything.
I know you're like the person that's like, I got this in here.
I got
Okay,
it.
you
Don't
need
worry
that.
about
I
it.
got that.
I got that. And when I don't have it, Steph goes, what do you want to talk about? I go, what should I create for Steph and the team?
Okay, this is really funny. The Wake Your Queer Travel Society will be watching you every move.
Yes, do it.
Super
If you can
crazy.
keep up. That's the thing. Can you keep up with us? I don't think so.
It is true. It is true. Jen and I have similar energy levels. So
Yes.
very exciting. Well, let's see. Any other questions? Pop them in the comments. But gives you like a great framework to build off of
Yeah.
and step by step. I know it's easy to get overwhelmed when you're
Don't get
starting out.
overwhelmed.
There's a lot of ideas bouncing around in your head, but the key to it is focus on one, set aside that time and do it.
And just do it. And then
Yep.
just pay attention to that. Just do that.
Yeah.
And the other 12 things I've told you in the past.
I know. Don't get distracted. Don't get
Don't get
distracted.
distracted like we do.
Exactly.
I'm so happy to spend time with you, Steph, and everyone who's watching, whether you're watching live or recorded. This is my favorite part of my job, is getting a chance to share wisdom with the advisors out there, help you guys, elevate your business through sales and marketing for sure.
That is so fantastic. We're so glad you're here, Jenn. And are you going to be at ASTA coming up?
Am I going to be at ASTA? Of course.
Jenn is on the board, but you never know. Maybe Jenn's been world traveling.
Yes.
Literally crisscrossing the globe.
Yeah. In 14 days, I was in Amsterdam in Europe, 6 hours ahead of my normal time schedule, and immediately flew from there to Las Vegas for 3 hours behind my time. I'm in the Eastern time zone for like the next, I think, 2 weeks.
Well, so if you are going to be at ASTA's convention, is it still the global convention this year?
No, I think they're calling it the ASTA Travel Advisor Conference. And if you haven't registered, I'm going to tell you, this conference looks flippin' amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, it's got Venus Williams as the keynote, which if that's going to sell, I mean, there's also other things there, but that's pretty darn amazing. So,
well, I'm always excited to meet anybody who has taken one thing in their career and leveraged and scaled it to something else. So I'm really excited about her, but I'm really most excited about Chris Voss. Black Swan. I've read his book, Don't Split the Difference, which is all about negotiating. And you're going to learn more about sales than anything else when you listen to Chris, because it's really not about negotiating. It is, but it isn't.
He's the FBI negotiator, right?
He was the number one hostage negotiator for years.
Yeah, so you can also pick up things on that, which is helpful as well.
If you just happen to be in a neighborhood when someone says, look, there's somebody being held hostage down the street, is there anybody that can help? You know what? I think I can.
I went to a conference once.
I
got this. Well, we're going to link to the ASTA Travel Advisor Conference as well, for those that are interested in joining, because that's not only a great way to connect with Jenn, but a great way to support our industry and ASTA and get your training and learning on. So,
yep, absolutely. All right. Jennifer says it sounds interesting. I hope to see you there, Jennifer. If you register, I want you to send me an email, jennl@tpionline.com, and I'll make sure to find you because you're so active on this webinar.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Jenn, thank you for joining us and you're sharing your time and your knowledge with us. We appreciate it as always. And for those of you tuning in, we will go ahead. We'll send the follow-up email with all the resources later this afternoon. So keep an eye out for that. And we will see you hopefully at another webinar, Friday 15, something like that coming up.
I think I've got many planned with you. So yes.
Yeah. Thanks so much, everybody.